Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. We are pleased to be with you again. Welcome to Transatlantic Productions. We have a very serious uh, show for you today. Um, some people are saying that, this is a white man's war. Um, we're going to be talking about Ukraine, Russia, and African people. And so some saying that, look, just let the white folk fight it out against themselves and we'll sit back and watch it. But let me tell you something. If they decide to use nuclear weapons, we all go. It is not a matter of sitting back watching anything. They're discussing um, war that could take out everybody on the planet, or at least a good part of us. And so we need to be involved. They also what discussing or at least expressing racism against African people. Um, Students that are in Ukraine are not being able to leave Ukraine. They've been discriminated against and pushed and beat off buses and trains. And so we want to discuss that. And we want to look at uh, our position within the world while all this is going on. They're talking about who will be the president of the world. Ukraine is saying that Biden will be the president of the world. Well, how are you going to choose who's going to be the president of the world? Everybody that spoke. The African Union ain't haven't spoke. We ain't spoke. And why are you giving everything to make sure that Ukrainians are well taken care of, and we can bring them here and give them citizenship and they can vote when African Americans are here and we can't even vote. I mean, this is some serious stuff for us. So we're gonna discuss it. Now, let me say this: I don't want to see any Ukrainians killed or children killed, but I don't want to see any Africans killed and discriminated within the situation. Those are my people. Those are my people. That's my blood. And while I don't want to see nobody else stomped down in the ground, I don't want to see us stomped down in the ground either. So we got a lot of discussion to go on. And who makes who the leader of the world? When y'all about to blow it up, you need some African consciousness. You need African people at the table. Maybe we can find a way where we can all live together in peace and harmony. Maybe we can teach you what my art is. After all, that is our history, and we need my art more than anything else. Brother Mike Kuba, I'm glad to have
Yes,
you
my
with
brother.
us, and brother Sister Moshe as my co-host. I'm glad to have you with us today. Um, so my co-host might have a few words of opening that she might want to open us up with.
Oh, well, greetings. I was just going to sound um the sounding bowl, recognizing the ancestors, so you can do your libation, Baba.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just invite the ancestors, our spirit guides, the master teachers, divine consciousness, divine intellect. The portal is open, Baba. You can do your libation.
I just want to call upon our ancestors who laid the foundation for humanity to evolve and to exist. So we've been here since the very beginning. I was looking at a book of time's life, and they had Egypt as it found as the oldest civilization. But African people go back to the beginning of humanity when there was no other human beings. How do we know it? We can prove it not only through uh, fossil findings, which go back some 7 million years, but we can also prove it through the DNA, our shade to our great and noble ancestors who
I
brought,
say,
who brought humanity into existence. All human beings, and they are only Homo sapiens sapiens are found in Africa. They're not found all over the planet. We're the oldest, and not only are we the oldest, but we're the most evolved people on the planet. So I want to give praise and thanks to those ancestors who go back to the beginning of time. I want to give praise and thanks to those ancestors who are in our immediate bloodline, our mothers, fathers, uh, our people, our bloodline. And I honor them and call them to be with us and to guide us. And I want to give uh, praise and a shout out and call forth our ancestors, the great warriors of our times, the great Malcolm X, the great Dr. Martin Luther King, the great Marcus Garvey, all of those great warriors, the Black Panther Party, all these brothers and sisters who have carried on the struggle to bring us to where we are today. Because at one time here in America, we couldn't even vote, and they're trying to take that vote away from us today. And that's why we need to be at the table to talk about what's going on. We're not going to lay back and play dead. We're going to fight. But, we can talk, and let's talk. And let's see if we can't make the world a better place. So we ask our guides, our spirit guides, our ancestors to be in us and with us because they have brought us this far and they will take us on. Peace and blessings to all of our people. Ashe,
I
Ashe.
say, I say, oh,
Brother Mike,
Urmakia.
yes, sir.
Can you hear me? How's my audio?
Huh?
Is my
Yeah,
audio clear?
yeah, your audio is very clear, but I want to get back to Mama Moshe. Would you introduce Brother Mike Cooper?
um, well, I don't even know how to pronounce his name correctly due to the fact that he reached out to you, Baba. I would prefer you to do the introduction.
All right, not a problem. Brother Cooper, you and I go back.
Urmakia, brother.
You and I go back a long ways.
Yes.
I think about 30 years.
Yes.
And the struggle, I mean, you were there with the United African Movement. Um, you've been just on the front line. And even though we lost contact for the last 10 years or so, um, when I heard from you, I was very much excited and willing to work with you because of the history that I know of you being on the front line and working with us as a people. So, but I'm going to ask you because I just has been so many years to give us a little about yourself and who you are and why you uh, are taking the position that you are taking within the struggle of Ukraine, Russia, and African people today.
Thank you. Thank you, Baba. And it's an honor to be with you, Professor Clemson Brown. And yes, um, our lineage goes back decades, several decades. And I had actually been in touch with Patar Seeker, or Patar Seeker up in Boston when he told me that you were ill and gave me your phone number. And I was elated to get that because it gave us the opportunity to reconnect. And I'd like to say, before I get too deep in speaking, I'd like to greet you, Udama'a Kayur, Lion of the New Dawn. Udama'a Kayur, Lion of the New Dawn. The lion is our consciousness, and the new dawn is the resurrection of our consciousness, Udama'a Kayur, the vibratory frequency of spiritual liberation. And in saying that, I'd like to also give honor and respect to Lioness Moshe, Udama'a Kayur, Lioness Moshe. It is a pleasure and an honor to be in your presence as well. Yes, my name is Makakuvu Ali Elbey. And you mentioned in your libation monologue Malcolm X. I had the honor of sitting at the feet of Malcolm X when I was a little boy, 8, 9 years old. I didn't even know he was Malcolm X. He wasn't even the national spokesperson for the Nation of Islam yet. He was in training. And he used to come to my hometown on Long Island, Wyandanch, every Friday night. There was a group of men, James and George Walker, who owned the barbershop, Larry Diggs Sr., Bill Collins, Moses Samuel, and my father, Tommy Lee Simmons. And they brought us into the Nation of Islam when we were children. And they would bring Malcolm X out to Wyandanch every Friday night as part of his training. I didn't even realize who he was. All I was interested in doing was sitting on the floor, listening and eating bean pies. And then, because the street was a dead-end street, Hickory Street in Wyandanch, I would ask my father to go outside so that, give me the keys to the car so that I could warm the car up. And as a little boy, since the street was a dead end, I used to drive the car up and down the street. Fortunately, the spirit in the chair protected me from having an accident, because I was 9, 10 years old. I didn't know any better. In any event, that was one of my journeys. And as I got older and got involved with the so-called civil rights movement, in Wyandanch, our involvement in that movement was starkly different and distinct from the movement, notice I said so-called civil rights movement, from the movement that was sweeping the country. Because in Wyandanch, up until 1963, it had no high school or junior high school. So all the students who were of junior high school and high school age were already being bussed out in the 50s and early 60s to white school districts. In 1963, they constructed the Wyandanch Junior Senior High School. In 1956, they constructed the Mount Avenue School, which was later renamed the Francis Hardeman School, elementary school. So in Wyandanch, our people were already being best out to integrate white school districts, not because of integration, but because Wyandanch did not have the educational facility to train our young people in the propaganda education that is what is called education. So in 1967, 4 years after the high school was opened up and the junior high school was opened up, Wyandanch Junior Senior High School, here comes the NAACP, and they want to dissolve the high school. That was our effort to prevent that from happening. So our people, our young people, we formed the group Black Youth Awareness Committee, BYAC, all males with a sister component. And when they had the community meeting in the auditorium, packed, over 600 people, standing room only. Black Youth Awareness Committee, BYAC, which I was the chairperson of. My colleague Joe Horton was the co-chair. My other colleague, Carl Clark, may he rest in peace with the ancestors, was the secretary. And my other colleague, Bruce Bradley, was the coordinator. And then there were other people in the organization. So when they had the community meeting, our strategy was, number one, to develop black armbands with red letters BYAC, BYAC. Number two, to wear jackets and shirt and tie to the community meeting. Number three, to send two of our brothers into the auditorium to reserve the first 2 rows of seats at the front of the auditorium. And number four, to wait until the auditorium was filled and they were beginning to start the meeting, and then we would walk in single file, walk down to those rows of seats, wait till everyone was positioned in front of a chair, and then sit down. It caught everybody's attention. Up until that night, all of our meetings were clandestine. Nobody knew that these young men were organizing as a force. Subsequent to that night, I was asked to speak, representing the students. And I made a statement that you are not going to dissolve our high school. You are not going to dissolve our high school. Among other things that was said. So that catapulted us into a leadership role in the community and the county and on Long Island. As a result of that, our tutelage and our mentors were part of the Congress of Racial Equality. One of our main mentors was a brother named, elder named Irwin Quintine from Amityville. The core headquarters, Long Island headquarters, was on Albany Avenue in Amityville. Lloyd Sargent, Gordon Austin, other elder brothers became a part of our mentoring. Even on the night when Martin Luther King was assassinated, we were already at the core office meeting because we met there regularly with them. When we left that meeting that night, before we got the news that King was assassinated, we were driving back to Wyandanch and came across the news story on the radio that he had gotten assassinated, and we turned back around, went back to the Corps headquarters, organized a protest for the next day in the high school. We also participated Columbia University with Students for a Democratic Society when they had the jocks had cordoned off Low Library. So we were there in the meeting in the math building. We also had Bill Brazier, who had a black newspaper on Long Island, who gave me a press pass as a young student. So when it came time for the Poor People's Campaign, and this is very interesting because most people hear about the March on Washington, I Have a Dream speech, and never hear anything about the Poor People's Campaign in May of 1968, which was the second March on Washington that was organized with the effort of Martin Luther King, but he didn't attend because he was assassinated. Black Youth Awareness Committee, the four of us who were in the leadership position, were sent to the Poor People's Campaign twice. The first time to scout it out and make arrangements for the contingent of buses, the convoy of buses coming from Long Island. And the second time we came down was with that convoy. So my involvement with the upliftment of our people goes back to my entire life. As you heard me say, my father and mother, Cleopatra Johnson Simmons and Tommy Lee Simmons. Simmons is my surname. My parents gave me the name Furman Madison Simmons. And in 1968, as I was starting my freshman year at the State University of New York, the chair gave me the tongue, Udama Akuyur. Notice that Ma'at is the root of Udama Akuyur. And after that tongue was given to me, then the chair, when I say the chair, I'm speaking about the divine intelligence of creation that Christians call God, Muslims call Allah. Then the chair revealed the name to me, Makakuvu. And after some 40 years, and I met one of my Sabah, one of my teachers, and Sabah, one of my students, because there was an interchanging relationship between myself and Hudi Kafra, or him Nachir Tapia, Kemetic high priest, and the Het Nachir Shishini Hechanub, Kera Amin Ra, Temple of the White and Gold Lotus, Shrine to Amin Ra. So my journey as an energetic force in the upliftment of our people has been the ordination of my life. Being ordained in the Spirit, I was also ordained as a Christian minister. I also took my Shahada. It wasn't long ago, during the time that you and I, Professor Brown, were connected, I was teaching the FOI under Minister Conrad and Captain Dennis at Mosque 7A in New York, right above the National Black Theater when they used to hold their meetings there. During our time with Black Youth Awareness Committee, I also began to train in the martial arts. not because I wanted to learn how to fight, because we were fighting as children. I already knew how to fight. I was motivated to train in the martial arts because our people are outnumbered. So my philosophy was, and still is, to be able to deal in multiple attack defense, more than one attacker. As Malcolm said, you got your gun, I got my gun, you got your dog, I got my dog. That is equality. So we're equal. So now, before I get into speaking about how the war, and I'm going to say this very clearly, how the war in the territory known as Ukraine, notice I did not say country, but before I talk about that and how that war impacts on our people, I would like to ask Linus Moshe to bring up the email of Guerrero de Luz so I can share with people what our project in Brazil is and why that project is so important for young people. Linus Moshe,
Yeah, I
could
want
you
you to
bring
go
that up,
ahead.
please?
Yeah, Linus Moshe will return in a few minutes. Go ahead on and give us more information, and when she returns, she will play that.
Okay, not a problem. Guerrero de Luz means warriors of light. It is a project in Brazil that my son, my oldest son, I have 3 sons and 2 daughters. My oldest son, who has been living in Brazil for almost 20 years, has developed based upon a program I had in the schools in New York City on Long Island called Leadership 2000. And Leadership 2000 was a leadership development training program for young people that had 4 components: leadership development, and I used a training model called the 7 levels of leadership that said, regardless of your leadership style, theory, or concept, you will only lead on 1 or more of 7 basic levels: leadership of self, leadership of group, leadership of the masses, um, cooperative leadership, leadership by example, divine or spiritual leadership, and one other I don't remember right now. But in any event, that project, there it is, leadership, Guerrero de Luz.
Go ahead, Michael.
There's some volume on that video. I was waiting to see if it came up.
And these kids and let them interact together. What if we did that with from all over the world? I think it made the world a good place. Guerreros da Luz is an organization that wants to do exactly that. This organization asked to represent the United States in a capoeira tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. While I was there, I met a group of 6 kids who were homeless and living on the streets. Once they met me, they were stuck at my side, always asking questions and always happy. This really changed my life. Ever since then, I've dedicated my life to try and make this experience somebody else's experience as well. What we plan to do with Guerreros da Luz is take kids from New York, LA, Africa, Japan, all over the world, and bring them in small groups of kids to interact with other groups of kids. The headquarters is going to be on Morro de Sao Paulo, Brazil. Morro de Sao Paulo is a little island off the coast of Bahia. It's full of nature, not a whole lot of media influence. It's a great place for kids to be kids, interact with life and each other. This fundraiser is to raise money with your contributions to build the headquarters, the world headquarters on Maui, Sao Paulo. This past summer, we were donated a plot of land on the island that has already been cleared to build this cultural center. Now it's time to take the next step and actually start the building process. We have a team of people that are working with this. We have architects, we have engineers, we have teachers. And if you put all of our experience together working with kids, we have over 60 years of experience. This is a great project. It's a world unity project, and it's something that we can all get together and help and share and do our part to change the planet, to change the world, because the children are the future, and we need to do something to make sure that they have a future to take care of.
Brother Kuma?
Udmakiyo.
Brother Mark,
That's
yeah.
Guerrero de Luz in Brazil. Now, my son Ahmad has already had a couple of workshops, people visiting Brazil. So one of the things we want to do is expand that project, be able to take groups of young people to Brazil and expand that project in Alkebulan as well. So it's already been introduced to UNESCO through Dr. Okika at the United Nations and to other entities in on the continent as well. So Leadership 2000 was the catalyst for that. And when my son started training in capoeira, and he went to Brazil, as he said, for a capoeira tournament, he was inspired to be able to develop that project. So even now, he's on Brazil, he's on the island, Morro de Sao Paulo, and he's in Bahia State in Salvador, going back and forth on the ferry, working and developing that. So I want to encourage people to make donations to the Cash App that's in the link here, so that not only that project can go and develop, but the collaboration with Transatlantic Productions, TAP Media, with the World Media Coalition, and Linus Moshe and Moshe and Professor Brown can develop into a media organization that can bring news, business, arts, culture, and entertainment to our people and give our people a voice and a platform that mainstream media is not providing, and it shouldn't be expected to provide, because when you rely upon people who have oppressed you to do the right thing about you and for you, they never do. And I'm not talking about being racist. I'm just talking about being able to provide for our consciousness the type of information, including entertainment, not Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, BET, or VH1 type of entertainment. And I need to add this, folks. Many of you have heard of the rap industry and the rap genre of music. And that is a very destructive platform because of the industry co-opting the original message, which was the 5 elements of hip hop, out of the Universal Zulu Nation, which was the driving forces for rap music. The 5 elements of hip hop: rap, DJing, breakdancing, graffiti, which is art, and knowledge. Knowledge is the most important part. I have been chosen and also inherited the position of the official high priest of the Universal Zulu Nation. As a Kemetic high priest, coming out of the Hetna chair, Shishini Hechanub, Keta Amin Ra, Temple of the White and Gold Lotus, Shrine to Amin Ra, and my own temple, the Hetna chair, Udama Akayur, Kera Amin Ra. Temple of the Lion of the Dawn, Shrine to Amin Ra. So now, let's talk about the territory that is Ukraine. And I say the territory because I want to take you back to the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. And I'm taking you back there for a reason. Because before the African Union, the USSR was made up of 15 different republics. That's why it was called the Union of Socialist Soviet Republics, of which Ukraine was one. And to this day, I call it a territory because according to the United Nations, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, the Ukraine has now established its independent territorial boundaries. So it's not a country, it's still part of Russia.
Can you get this back?
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Yes.
What's the problem, Baba?
No, I'm trying to get Michael Kumu back into the picture.
You don't see
okay.
him?
No.
Well, he's there. All three of us.
Okay.
Yes. So
Can you change
the
that?
territory of the Ukraine.
Enlarge it?
You have the controls, Baba.
I'm sorry?
Okay, no problem. I'll get it. I'll get it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry. You were talking about Ukraine.
Yes. So therein lies some misinformation that is being reported consistently worldwide, that Ukraine is an independent country. And you hear that President Zelensky has requested a no-fly zone. And the United States and NATO have refused that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if Ukraine has not declared its borders, as per the UN General Secretary Ban Ki-moon, that means the airspace over Ukraine is Russian airspace. So if they are flying jets to enforce a no-fly zone over Ukraine, they are flying in Russian airspace. Think about that. Think about that. I also want to share the fact that the Ukraine military has a large contingent of far-right Nazi troops. Their emblems reflect the same type of design from Nazi Germany. Now, I'm with the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network. One of my technical producers lives right there in that territory. I sent an email with some missile fragments that were fired in the area where Zulu King Frickson lives. Can you pull that email up? It says missile fragments. Zulu King Fixin is part of the Universal Zulu Nation. And he has worked with me and Ahmad to be able to bring news from on the ground in the Lugansk People's Republic. Notice I said the Lugansk People's Republic. And the reason why I said that, I want to read you something. Give me a moment. I just got a text message. Yes, I just got a text message, Professor Brown. People are trying to get in to the production. What should I tell them? Those are missile fragments that were fired upon the town that Zulu King Fixin lives in. He is actually holding those missile fragments. There are a couple more pictures. I have people trying to get into this. I got people trying to get into this production. And in the meantime, I want to be able to read you something that was sent to me about the conflict zone there. First and foremost, it says, former Australian Special Forces Commander Ricardo Bosny on Ukraine. This is from a Special Forces soldier, former Special Forces soldier. Ukraine is the center of the deep state. It's the head of the snake. And Vladimir Putin is taking the head off. Ukraine has been the center of the globalists for decades and decades. The CIA has been working in the Ukraine for 70 years. He goes on to say, ignore all the chatter about nuclear war and Russians' attempt to take over the globe. Completely the opposite. That's one. I'm going to read you something else. This is from Zulu King Fritzen. The Ukrainian government launched the so-called anti-terrorist operation against Donbass in April of 2014. The Ukraine military and the Ukraine government structure started the war 8 years ago. The members of the contact group have announced ceasefire more than 20 times since the order of 2014.
Yes.
The air forces regularly violated the truth.
He sent a file that I'm having a hard time opening.
The members of the contact group. I'm sorry? Is my phone too close to the mic?
Yeah, we're getting feedback.
Okay, let me try it again. The Ukrainian government launched the so-called anti-terrorist operation against Donbass in April 2014. The members of the contact group have announced ceasefires more than 20 times since the autumn of 2014. Kiev forces regularly violated the truth opening fire with large caliber artillery, mortars, and tank guns, which were to have been withdrawn from the contact line under the Accords. That's the Minsk Accords. France, Germany, Ukraine, and Lugansk People's Republics, Donetsk People's Republic, in 2014 wrote agreement of peace, but Ukraine didn't. Ukraine has not fulfilled any of the points within the Minsk agreements. 8 years, Ukraine has not fulfilled any of the points written in the Minsk agreements. Only buy weapons in USA and Europe. They see guilty only in Russia. Check the facts. Western civilization always built regime on blood they made in USA, Africa, Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. That is from my correspondent in Lugansk People's Republic, which has been fighting for their independence as a separate entity from the Ukraine. So the war started 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Now, I sent you an email that is a Facebook email, and it says "A Woman Speaks." This is a video of a young woman speaking about some of the details regarding the impact worldwide, particularly on people on the continent, that this conflict will have on us. Could you bring that up, please? And then I want to send you another email with Bernie Sanders speaking, because Bernie Sanders, in his speech, which was for a college graduation. All right, I'm sending you Bernie Sanders now. Let me pull your email back up. LADY. LADYHA. Can you find that email?
I was trying to ask you what's the name, because you sent me quite a few. I don't see anything about a woman talking. What's the title of the email?
The email says Facebook. It's from the Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it. Hold on. Continue.
So I'm getting ready to send you Bernie Sanders right now as well. See if you can pull that up when you can. HA, I'm getting ready to send you another email. SAH.
And this is supposed to have an attachment to it?
Yes, go down to the bottom
says
of the email.
Facebook?
Yes, go all the way down. It says Facebook in the email as well.
Yeah, I have it. Wrote. Let's see. I'm looking for the attachment.
There's no attachment. It's the email link.
Oh, it's an email link.
You should see the email. Yes,
Okay.
the email link in the email itself.
I see the Yahoo .com.
Now some more.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to send the email several times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me share the screen. Okay. Now it's telling me to log in. This might be an issue. I haven't been able to access my Facebook account. They screwed that one up about 7 months ago. Find a different way to do that. And I know that is the main one. Baba Brown. We're having technical difficulties with the Facebook link because I was shut out of mine's that particular account about 7 months ago. So I'll try to see if I can open it up in my new Facebook, but I don't know why it went to that particular one. Okay. Oh. Why isn't anyone speaking? Am I still connected?
Okay, is it not opening?
No, because they locked me out of that particular account 7 months ago.
Okay, let me see
And
if
I
I
don't
can.
know why. Is there a YouTube channel that it's connected to?
No.
Can you send it to can you send it to Instagram? I mean not Instagram, Telegram.
Let me see if I can send it on Telegram.
And I don't know why I don't see nor hear Baba.
Are you on Telegram?
Yes. Hold on. Baba.
What's your? Are you on Facebook? I mean, you on WhatsApp?
No, I can't hear you, nor can I see you, Baba. You're. Okay. Yes, we're having technical difficulty. Okay, Baba. You hung up? Yes. Oh, you mean to tell me you have to close out and then restart? You can't come in on the same link? Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Baba. Okay, so Ali LB.
Yes.
Baba, can you hear me?
Yes, I